And we are back to talk about Ahsoka Episode 6, and Preston, it finally happened.
Star Wars Rogues, Star Wars Rogues, Star Wars
Pretty much.
Rogues.
It is a
It
reunion of our final cast member from Rebels. That's alive.
uh so like that big gorilla dude and and Obi-Wan's wife's husband are like gone.
No, we actually saw the big gorilla guy, Zeb. We actually saw him in Mando. He has a conversation at the
Oh,
bar
right, the guy
with
with Kim's convenience guy. Okay.
But
All
no,
right, all
Star
right.
Wars finally did it. Ahsoka asked Huang to tell her a story, and he tells her a story of a long time ago from a galaxy far, far away.
Yes.
They finally got it. They did the thing.
Which was the name of the episode as well, Far Far Away.
hmm
Which brings me to now. Look, I really liked this episode. I did. But being the people we are, like I immediately start talking about the things that kind of bugged me. Even though I really liked the episode. Okay, I really liked the episode. I really liked Thrawn. I really liked Sabine. I really liked delving into actually getting to know Balin, and his apprentice, and finally some characterization there. Episode 6 in, I thought those little creatures looked great. Even the furry rat beasts looked great. Like it's like the design of the stormtroopers was freaking great. There was a lot to love about this episode, but let's just get into things that bugged me. Okay, first off, you're going to a planet that's in a different galaxy. It's far, far away. The idea is that this is the most exotic place because it is not even in the same galaxy. Make the fucking planet look exotic. Make it look weird. Do something. Have like large mushrooms growing. Have something. Don't make it like it looked like Colorado. Like what are they
Yeah,
doing? Like come on.
pretty much.
Like it looked like Colorado. They're riding rat beasts that were not that original. The little snail dudes. They were pretty cool looking, kind of very Jim Henson-y. But still not something that was something I would expect in the Star Wars galaxy. We're in a different galaxy. Let it be exotic. Let it be exotic. Also, like, let me know what Thrawn was doing. And he just had his ship. He was just floating around in his ship for years. I mean, I don't know how Star Wars Rogues ended and how he got stuck and everything. And why every stormtrooper outfit is falling apart, but like his outfit looks fine and the ship in general looks fine.
I have a theory on that.
Yeah.
So the way Star Wars Rebels ends is that Thrawn sees Ezra and his group as a major threat. This is before Luke and Leia, and he wants to wipe out Ezra's hometown. But he also needs to lure Ezra out because Palpatine has plans for Ezra regarding that time lobby that Ezra was in. Palpatine wants to utilize that. So
Yeah.
at the very end, Ezra encounters Thrawn aboard his Star Destroyer, and Thrawn has Ezra cornered. Ezra essentially summons, somehow, the space whales, and the space whales wrap their tentacles around Thrawn's Star Destroyer and hyperspace him, I believe, to this location here. Apparently, this planet is where they go to die. It's like their elephant graveyard.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was
So
kind of cool that an entire ring of the planet is whale bones. I mean, that's kind of neat.
that
But
was very fucking dark.
yeah.
I think the stormtroopers have gotten the same treatment that Marok, the Inquisitor, got, where I think all the stormtroopers are dead, and they're being propped up by Night Sister magic, just like the Inquisitor that Ahsoka defeated.
Okay. Well, we shall see. We shall
Because their
see.
armor is all cracked and stuff, and like, but by the
Yeah.
way, cool.
Taped
They're
together
called,
with like duct tape. Yeah.
I was that duct tape or just like red cloth? I feel like it was red cloth, which would be way
I
cooler.
thought it was like red colored duct tape, but yeah, or something, whatever. It was just yeah. Nonetheless, very cool design.
The way they move feels a little unnatural. I don't know. It's just so fucking cool. They're called night troopers. Ugh, so fucking cool. I agree with you about the aliens. Whenever we go to like another galaxy, like I want to harken back to Star Trek. There was an episode that Red Letter Media recommended. It's an episode in the first season of Star Trek where they go down to a planet and they keep getting these headaches and electronics keep exploding in their face like it always does. And it turns out they found a life form in the rock that's kind of like light-based. And that's so unique and alien, right? Because every other alien species has like 2 limbs and like 4 limbs and a head and so on and so forth. I expect species from another galaxy to not really be shaped like us, or wear clothes, or have 2 arms, 2 legs, a head.
I actually have this problem with like the movie Stargate, which I normally like, but the movie, like, they go to this alien world, and the only thing that's different about the alien world is the fact that they have like, there's like 1 species of alien camel that looks a little different. But otherwise, everything else is the same. It's people, sand, pyramids. Like that's it. Some alien camels. Like, so it's like here, it's like we got some rats. And even though it's a galaxy far, far away, I thought it was maybe a neighboring galaxy, but no, it's a galaxy far, far away.
We also got lore from that. Apparently that's where the Night Sisters come from, and...
Yeah, no, I like that lore. Yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought that was a very cool idea.
So, something Balin says actually harkens back to the 2014 or 2015 Star Wars Aftermath book. It's the one I read. I quite enjoyed it, and I even did a video on it. It's the one where we find out that after the defeat of the Empire, Mon Mothma orders a large reduction in Rebel Alliance forces going forward for the New Republic. And we also find out that there was something in deep space that was calling out to Palpatine. Something in the Force was calling out to him. Of course, this was supposed to allude to Snoke until J.J. Abrams came in at the last sequel trilogy film and retconned that whole fucking thing. Yeah, they kind of brought that back when Balin says something here is calling out to him. And Shin makes a very good point. What if they're trying to run from it? And Balin's like, nah.
I mean, I do appreciate and like the idea that, I mean, when they first arrive, I had high hopes because they arrive and you have these Force-using witches, which is completely and utterly foreign, right? When we think about the using of the Force, we think about Jedis and Sith, you know, and lightsabers and people floating around and Force lightning. And then to go to a different galaxy and find a completely different civilization who utilizes the Force in a completely different way and looks completely different. Like, I was into that. I'm like, oh, what kind of cool things are we going to find in this galaxy? And the answer is nothing much. I mean, you got some whale bones, you got those 3 witches, and you got some rats, some giant rats, and you got some snail dudes. And on like a rainy day in rural Colorado is what you got.
Yeah.
And so it's I mean, and essentially Tusken Raiders wearing some red suits because they made the same sounds. They're like, roar, roar.
I sent you a screenshot of what they're wearing. It's samurai garb. If you scroll up on our messages here, it's samurai garb. Yeah.
It does look like samurai garb, which is a little too, considering how much even I never understood that as well. I understand, like, when you bring back the Phantom Menace. I remember watching behind the scenes stuff, and they're like, oh, well, when we designed Queen Amidala's like wardrobe, we really wanted to like focus on some of this East Asian like art and stuff and derive stuff from that. I'm like, why are you deriving it from something that's from Earth? I wanted something alien, something very alien and new, something I've never seen before. And so here they've gone, even though their own galaxy already has stuff that's influenced by East Asia, they go now to a completely different galaxy and we find very similarly dressed people who are also very similarly dressed to our galaxy. So apparently you can go across the fucking universe, galaxy to galaxy, things that are literally hundreds of billions of light years away, and they all dress like fucking samurais, man. That's what I've discovered.
I'm not even playing devil's advocate. To defend the whole thing about Queen Amidala and that being East Asian instead of something very alien, it's so hard to do something. It's so hard for our imaginations to imagine something we haven't, like, because all these writers are adults who have spent time on this planet learning and about history and shit. It's so hard to imagine something and come up with something no one has seen before. Like even Lovecraft, the most alien thing he could come up with has squid tentacles.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And in a sense, a lot of these, like, the people are placing these things in order to kind of have a cliff notes for the viewer to get somewhere. I was watching a Saturday Night Live skit about naming people in movies and how, like, if you're gonna name somebody, there's like easy ways to get to a character where you know everything about them without even needing to explore. So he's talking about, like, if you're gonna have a rich character, you can name him like Baxter Honeywell, and you don't need to then have backstory and do exposition and explore him, because the name tells you everything. His name's Baxter Honeywell. Of course he's rich. And like the drug lord is named Lopez. You know, you're like, oh, Lopez, you know, like it just sounds like it's ridiculous, you know? I mean, Lopez, one of the common Hispanic names, but he's just like Lopez, you know? And you get that, right? You get those names. This is like the Harry Potter method of, like, creating characters, you know?
Cho Chang and
Slytherin. The Slytherins, they're evil, of course. They're called Slytherins. And this is the same thing. What's funny is that, like, to a Westerner, things that are East Asian are exotic. And therefore, we're watching something about space. We want them to look exotic. Let's make them look East Asian. Because Westerners think East Asian things are exotic. And it's so weird, right? That you're actually you're actually showing something familiar to try to tap into the idea of exoticism based on Western notions of exoticism. It's so weird. But yeah, it's just too much work. It's too much work to come up with something original, you know, that's not derived.
Seriously, Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling sucks at that. She really does. There's a character. Oh, the black character's name in Harry Potter, Lee Jordan, and then the Irish character is Seamus something. I forgot. Right. So she sucks at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no. So other than that, like, for something alien, I love that one Star Trek episode where they did that. It was a light-based alien form that communicated through, like, energy. That would have been really cool. I would have loved if, like, the little aliens that Ezra can communicate with weren't just, like, technically this generation's version of Ewoks, because I'm pretty sure we're going to have an Ewok battle with them and the Stormtroopers. I would have loved if they were, like, just light-based alien life forms that live on the planet and communicate maybe telepathically. It's something new and different. Or maybe, like, horrific tentacle... See, there we go, tentacles again. Like, something that you haven't seen before that I can't think of. Maybe, like, a weird jellyfish creature? I don't know.
There's actually an episode of Voyager where Chakotay is kidnapped and given a propaganda, like, hallucination where he's in a war against these, like, this alien race, and the alien race is ugly as sin. I mean, they look like the Predator from like with the masks off. Like, you know, they've got these weird, like, crab-like faces that are just, like, ugly as anything. And then he gets out of it, and he gets back, and they're like, actually, you know, that was all propaganda. We're actually in relations with this people. And they're like the good guys. And, like, Chakotay meets them for a second, and they're all really nice and, like, diplomatic, except they're super ugly. And Chakotay has to, like, leave the room because he's just like, I can't take it. Like, I've been told that these are my enemies, you know. But it's always that, like, you can look at something and figure out if it's good or not. Like, the snail guys are cute, you know. So we know they're good, you know, because they're cute. You know, it takes something. It takes that. Like, why not make them, you know, ugly? Why not make them hard to look at? That's one of the things that was kind of interesting about the movie District 9 is the fact that the refugees are so ugly looking, and, you know, and he has to learn to, well, There's a lot going on in that movie, but he has to learn to sympathize with them, Um, but yeah, uh, I mean, things looked good, but I do just wish they had spent a little more time creating something that was different and exotic, considering we're in another fucking galaxy. What else was weird? The James Bond villain mercy of Sabine was kind of crazy, right?
My assumption on that is Thrawn has been trying to find Ezra, and as we saw, Ezra and
Which is
these
Ezra
villagers,
is so fucking hard to find, man. Ezra is he's like a half day ride from the witch's tower. Man, he was fucking impossible to find.
there has to be a reason why. I don't want to chalk it up to like this just being poor writing. There has to be a reason why, but at the same time, just leave them there. Just strand them there. It's over.
Right.
Let it
which
go.
he mentions. He mentions where he's just like, yeah, we can strand him here. Yeah, why don't you just strand him there to start? Like, don't worry about it. Just leave him.
Yeah, pretty much. And I like that, like, Thrawn's like, I want to know everything about Ahsoka. I swear to God, if they defeat him in this fucking season, I'm, like, pissed. I'm going to be so pissed. But at the same time, if they don't defeat him this season, how are you going to explain the sequel trilogy and why he's not there? This, like I said, I've said this before, I'll say it again. This really feels like Dave Filoni whipping his dick out and saying, this is what the sequel trilogy should have been. Choke on it.
Oh, yeah. And I think the thing is like at the same time, the early season was going too slow and now it's going too fast. I almost feel like they could have had the end of the show be discovering Ezra and Thrawn last episode and had a little more exploration of this galaxy. Like, go to a different planet. Explore a little, see the exotic alien races and whatever, and how witches use the Force in another galaxy. Like, there's so many cool things that you could explore. You're literally in another galaxy, but it's like we've arrived. We've immediately found Thrawn. We've immediately found Ezra, and we're ready to go home. Like, I don't know if they're gonna defeat Thrawn. Maybe we gotta have a season 2. Maybe.
I also have another theory, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run it by you. So this is let me copy this and send this to you here. I posted it in my server. Can you see this? I posted on Discord in our messages here.
You love to like switch it up all the time when you send me stuff.
I'm sorry.
Because like he'll be like it'll sometimes be a private message on Facebook and sometimes it'll be a private message on Discord and sometimes it'll be in his server in something. But we did not see it. It's a loose thread.
So the Night Sisters, they remind me. Oh, I forgot their names. I watched the movie once as a kid. The three sisters from Hercules. They have that one eye. They remind me of those characters, and they clearly have some precognition ability. Like, they can see these threads, which the sisters who weave.
Well, we're talking about the Greya, the Grey sisters who they share an eye. In fact, they're in Clash of the Titans. They see them in a lot of different things. But yeah, there's this. There are these three women that all share one single eye.
My theory here is they say we did not see it about Ahsoka coming. We did not see it. It's a loose thread. I'm wondering, because they saw a lot of other stuff. What they didn't see was Sabine as prisoner and Ahsoka coming. I wonder if they can see the threads of mortals, but those who have the ability to wield the Force, they probably can't sense them. Those people who wield the Force, their decisions probably lay outside of Destiny's thread, if that sounds...
Despite the fact that she shows up and there, she's like, oh, she reeks of Jedi. You're like, I thought Sabine was like really minimal in her Force sensitivity, and but so they can't detect her, but then they can detect her. It's kind of weird.
Well, like I said, they saw like the plan coming to fruition, but they didn't see that she would be the prisoner, because I think that was a decision by Balin, because Balin's a Force user. So any decision by a Force user throws a wrench in anything they've seen. So they can't see what Force users are going to do, which is why I think Thrawn keeps his distance from Ezra. I think it's kind of like a cold war on this planet between Thrawn and Ezra, because Ezra may have the ability to, you know, catch these guys by surprise. So I think they keep their distance, and he keeps his distance from them because he doesn't want to get bombarded.
So I understand that, like, loosely, like, Ezra had some sort of ability to go into, like, the time tunnels, and but is he like a space Jesus when it comes to
no. It wasn't an ability. He found like this ancient mural temple thing, and he like just went in there.
Okay, but is he in general? I'm just saying. Besides like personal revenge for stuff that happened in Star Wars Rogues, what use can Thrawn have for Ezra? Because they keep saying that they're like why the like they keep lampshading, like they're like, why the fuck are we keeping Sabine around? Well, she might prove useful. Oh, okay. Well, that's abstract. Wait, why are we looking for Ezra? Well, he might prove useful. Well, will he? Like, I don't, like, why would they care? What does he provide them? Like I understood if he had some special ability, like he's a super force user, or he had abilities to get into the time tunnels or something crazy, I could understand why they're like trying to find him or keeping him alive. But is it just like a personal vendetta? He doesn't like these meddling kids?
I wonder if it is a personal vendetta, or he's being very careful, or it does have something to do with the time tunnels. Because at the very last episode of Star Wars Rebels, that's why Palpatine wanted Ezra.
Star Wars Rogues, yes.
But that's why Palpatine wanted Ezra, because Ezra went inside these tunnels before, and Palpatine is luring Ezra in, like, yeah, show me how to fucking use it, Ezra. If you do, we can get your parents back. Because Ezra's parents were killed by the Empire. We can resurrect your parents. The same shtick he threw at Vader, you know. And Ezra rejects it, of course. And yeah, the only thing that makes Ezra stand out is, just like Ahsoka, his ability to communicate with animals through the Force. But he's not like Anakin or who the fuck is Plagueis? Plagueis, who could like midi-chlorian up a baby.
Ray like talk to that? Was it a spider? Did she talk to somebody in the Rise of Skywalker?
Holy shit, you remember that? Yeah. Well, no, it was Kylo Ren who supposedly talked to the lava spider, but that was like a deleted scene.
Didn't she talk to? Weren't they underground at some point?
Oh, Rey, she healed this like sand serpent thing.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, okay. I can't, what else? But so he didn't even use. The thing is, like, he wasn't even using, like, with the snail dudes, like with the hermit crab, like, dudes. He wasn't even using his powers like to communicate with them. He just like learned their language. That's too bad. Like he could have maybe they could have made it that. They could have made it that.
It's possible. Like I said, I really do think it's some kind of Cold War, because the Night Sisters can't predict him because he's a Force user. That makes him a big threat, but also a threat to stay away from. And I think Thrawn was just being cautious. So it's like a Cold War on that planet. As much as Thrawn wants to destroy them, I think Thrawn is just letting Sabine go and using Balin and Shin Hati to track them down, and having the two other Force users handle this other Force user.
I don't know. I'm just suspicious that it's Scott. You just don't get it.
I will say, there is one thing that's stupid, is I didn't realize they did this until she whipped it out. They gave her the lightsaber. They gave her Ezra's lightsaber. Mm-hmm. Why would you let her keep that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of dialogue that doesn't make sense. Like, she's sitting there in her cell being like, "We had a deal." It's like, dude, we just fucking arrived at the planet. Like, give me a fucking moment, Jesus. And then they let her out, and she's like, we had a deal. And you're like, dude, we just stop whining. Like, we literally just got to another galaxy. Give me a fucking moment.
By the way, Thrawn, this annoys me. So there, maybe I'm just dumb. I didn't sense, and I'm sure Star Wars fans can back me up here. I didn't sense any romantic feelings between Sabine and Ezra back in the show. But the way she acts is like Ezra is her long lost love, and even Thrawn goes,
Oh yeah.
"Ah, for this person, you've made this decision to doom your galaxy. I hope it was worth it." And when she first sees Ezra again, which, by the way, I love that they got his blue eyes in there. Good shit. They just hug, bro, like smooch or something. Fucking hell, jump on him. Like, you just doomed
This is Star Wars. It's a very sterile, sexless galaxy, or not even galaxy, universe. Okay, you know how little sex they have in Star Wars. I do not understand how. Like, how does I mean, I guess cloning is the only way like populations can stay stable in Star Wars.
Breeding pods.
No one's having kids, and when they do, it's like one kid. You know, it's like, that's it.
Have you seen Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and
I have, yeah.
That's how it's that how that society, they have sex, they put on the fucking VR headsets, and that's how it happens.
VR hums, yes. I would like to have sex with you. Okay.
The only people getting laid is that one really hot woman from Andor and her boyfriend, and that was it. That's the only people in the whole galaxy.
I mean, I guess maybe like Jabba and like his like slave girls or something was going on in like the seedy underbelly of like of Tatooine, but like thank goodness you have a seedy underbelly of planets, because otherwise there's nothing going on in their little sterile, loveless universe. But we'll see if there's any fireworks between them.
I'm sure you'll agree with me when I say the breakout stars of this episode and so far this show, of course, Ray Stevenson as Balin, but Thrawn, I forgot the actor's name. I know he's the brother of Mads Mikkelsen. Forgot the actor's name, but both of them this episode knocked it out of the park. Ray Stevenson's Balin specifically. It's Lars
Mikkelsen.
There it is. I loved him, by the way, in House of Cards. Really good. Yeah. Great as the Russian president, Petrov. But, fuck, man, Ray Stevenson's Balin, I fucking hate that the actor is gone, because holy shit.
Oh, he's so good.
He got so much deeper this episode. Like we got to figure out what the fuck he wanted. I thought he wanted to, like, restart the Order with, like, Thrawn, like, Imperial Knights in the old canon type of thing.
I'm not sure if his logic really makes sense at this point, especially at like this point in the story. Like his logic is like that there's some sort of endless cycle of war, like rise and fall of Jedi, coming of Empire, and you're like, no, that happened once. That's not a cycle. That happened one time. Now, if you did it at the end of Rise of Skywalker, maybe I could be like, okay, maybe it happened twice, but like. There's something like at that point in the story. There's no cycle.
Well, technically, there is a cycle. I mean, Disney destroyed most of the original canon because before Disney acquired Star Wars canon went back like thousands and thousands of fucking years, and in that canon, that cycle was a thing. Now we don't know. It's possible,
right? I know that they retconned the Old Republic stuff from 10,000 years to 1,000 years, which is a fine retcon to me, because a 10,000 year like empire is you're getting into like ridiculous Dune like lore when you do that kind of stuff. But like I'm fine with that retcon, because it's in the original, it's in the prequel trilogy where Palpatine says that the Old Republic has lasted 1,000 years. But I remember like the Dark Horse comics and stuff saying it was like a 10,000-year-old Republic. So, I mean, there might have been like, well, what was there? Was there an empire then? Is there a cycle of Jedi and Sith? Like, I don't know what's going on, like the Darth Bane story and all that shit. But, maybe if like Stevenson told, like, maybe if Balin like told us. But
he's waiting for that to be like the monologue for when he fights Ahsoka again. That's what he's waiting for.
I guess so. Like, but the thing is, like, we keep like giving the benefit of the doubt. We're like, I'm confident this is going to be explained. Are you confident it's going to be explained? Because how many television shows have there been where it's never fucking explained? You know, like will in retrospect, Thrawn like letting Sabine go like makes sense. I'm honestly putting the odds of that at 10%. Like, I don't
it only makes sense with my explanation that there's a Cold War. Thrawn doesn't dare take on Ezra directly, and Ezra doesn't do the same. He needs Sabine to go find Ezra and have the Jedi hunt him down. That's the only way it makes sense, and maybe I'm doing mental gymnastics so the episode doesn't suck, because I really liked it.
Or he knows about the time tunnels, you know.
That too.
Or something. You know, something like that. You know, there's a lot of these little things like that where I'm like, is it gonna make sense? Okay. But yeah, I like the interaction between Balin and his apprentice. I like how she questions him so much. Like, what the like, why aren't you telling me? Because he hasn't been honest with her. She should totally be questioning things. Like, what is his loyalties? He's being a sketchy dude.
Even and he's also kind of lied. Because a couple episodes before, he said it was about power, and now he's changing it up. I guess maybe he's changing it on the fly because, you know.
And granted, a lot of it's for exposition, because there's little things like where she's like, wait, didn't you give your word? And he's like, well, what is it? Like, do you care if he breaks his code of honor? Like, what's your code of ethics, apprentice? I don't know, you know. It's so sad because now at this point we just hit episode 6 and we know that there's 2 episodes left, and you know, man, this could be an entire series about this one Jedi. Like, I realize that this Jedi Balin is as compelling, if not more compelling, than Thrawn. And they could have had an entire series where he was the big baddie, and it would have been really interesting. But
they still can. There's this Star Wars show called Tales of the Jedi. It's these CGI animated show about the backstory of how Count Dooku fell to the dark side, about how Ahsoka was discovered when she was a little girl. She had the Force. Like, it's a really interesting. You're right. I agree with you. Like, they should do something with that. It's a really interesting story, and I would like to see more Balin. But fuck, man, they would have to recast Ray Stevenson, which I don't know.
Well, I mean, Ray Stevenson did such a good job. I mean, obviously, there's an infinite number of like incredible actors in the world, and maybe recasting Ray Stevenson would be fine. But I have a feeling Ray Stevenson's going to die at the end of this. I mean, or the Balin's going to die at the end of this, and maybe, and you know, in some sort of honorable way, and I think Thrawn, maybe they'll keep around for a season 2. You know,
yeah, I'm hoping there's like a season 2, or it's supposed to be like the Mando cinematic universe for Disney Plus, where everything that Mando has experienced and, you know, all the allies he's built will be used to try and defeat Thrawn. But at the end of the day, does it all really matter when we know the First Order is somewhere out there? There's in deep space somewhere. Okay.
I mean, what you can do is you can have a bunch of events happen here and then have the characters disappear and have a villain have Thrawn disappear again and have him reappear after the events of Rise of Skywalker.
True.
Didn't they announce that there's going to be a Rey movie?
Yes, there's going to be a Rey movie where she's trying to rebuild the Order.
Yeah, bring these witches back. These witches can be like, all these witches in this other galaxy can be another threat that you can have come back post Rise of Skywalker. There's all sorts of things you can do.
True.
Infinite number of things, you know, now. So it's
true.
You know, it's great. Yeah. Like, they've world builded plenty. It's just, you know, they haven't always like done great stories, but they've world builded. They've world built, you know, of all these possibilities. I mean,
Yeah, no, I'm enjoying this era of Star Wars. I can't imagine someone trying to do mental gymnastics into saying this all was bad. It wasn't. This was a great episode.
Yeah, I know that we spent a lot of time like complaining about the things that didn't make sense, but it's only because it was so close to being a perfect episode. Had like a few of the little things. Like, I had Sabine searched a little longer and harder for Ezra. Like, they could have had another episode rather than her just finding Ezra immediately. I think that's problem one. I think letting Sabine go was at least right now is twisted logic. Maybe they could explain that later, and then having the galaxy not be that exotic, having it be too familiar. Like, but other than that, like, I loved all the performances, and I loved learning more about Balin and his relationship with his apprentice. I loved Thrawn's creepy performance. I loved the design of the stormtroopers and the witches and things like this. So there's a lot of good. And I think, you know, those little things like bug me because it's like, you could have had it perfect, you know. Well.
I agree.
Well.
Still a very awesome episode. But goddamn, like, we're such, as I was pointing this out, having a conversation with someone, we're such Star Wars nerds.
You're like every girlfriend you've ever had is given a Princess Leia golden bikini.
There's this legendary interview that Mark Hamill gave like back in the 70s about how he begged George Lucas to remove this one line, right? And I'm such a fucking Star Wars nerd that I know that line like off the top of my head. I've memorized it for some reason because I'm insane like that. The whole thing is Han Solo is supposed to say, "Look, kid, I've done my part of the bargain. When I get to an asteroid, you, the old man, and the droids get dropped off." And Luke's line is supposed to be, "But we can turn back. Fear is their greatest defense. I doubt if the actual security there is any greater than it was on Aklai or Sullus, and what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault." As I'm watching this fucking show,
clunky and horrible, yeah.
He begged George Lucas to take this line out. And I'm like, why? I'm thinking to myself, like, why? It's such a interesting war. But it's so lame, though.
It's such a Luke line. Like, you know, like that's impossible, even for a computer. And Luke being like, I used to bullseye womp rats in my T-16 back home. Like, why would this random dude know what the fuck you're talking about? Like, what, like, he could, like, who knows what planet he's from? What the fuck is a womp rat? What the fuck is a T-16? Like, does everyone have T-16 skyhoppers? Does everyone know that T-16 skyhoppers are everywhere in the galaxy? What the fuck is a womp rat? Like, the person just must be like, what? like what? You know? Like,
Luke has all this knowledge that you don't even give a fuck about. Luke is every person in the comment section who loves to start by saying, "Well, actually," and then they could proceed to write this entire paragraph trying to correct you.
And it's wonderful how nerdy and dorky he is. Like, I love it. But it's such a weird, first of all, it's a dick statement. Like, no, it's fucking impossible, even with a computer, and actually proven in the fucking movie, it can't be done with the computer. Like, that's the guy was right. Like, you know, like, and Luke, and only because Luke is blessed with the Force and he was bullseyeing womp rats, like subconsciously using the Force, like hitting them. Like, would he even know that? But he's just like, so Luke is just a dick, and then he throws a bunch of lingo at this guy. He's just like, what the fuck, dude? Oh,
Luke's such a douchebag. But like, I'm just like watching the show with a big smile on my face. Oh my god, there's Thrawn and there's Ezra, and I'm like thinking to myself, fuck, I'm such a Star Wars nerd, but I love it. Great time to be a Star Wars fan. Is basically what I'm trying to say. It's such a great time to be a Star Wars fan.
Ezra looked very clean, considering he's been living in a among the snail people. I mean, the snail people, they seem to have tailors and stuff, like to produce their little pants and vests, you know. Their
little pants, yeah.
They're cute little pants and vests, you know, or whatever, with their little buttons. I mean, Frank, you know what it all those outfits reminded me of. So, my second son, he recently turned 1, and we went and got some pictures taken for his first birthday party. And they have all these outfits at the fucking like photographer, you know, all these fucking cutesy baby outfits that you put your kid in, you know, to have no one would ever wear them in real life, but they're cute outfits to put a baby in, you know. That's what that fucking civilization wore. They wore their fucking cute little like outfits. Like, oh, you want to dress up like hobbits? Yeah, here you go. Get our pictures taken. Yay, we're all in Middle Earth. That's what the the hermit crab people had.
The hermit crab people.
I know. Could have pulled out one of his pocket watches and been like, "Oh, I'm so late," and gone running.
Preston, do you have anything more for this topic?
No, that's it.
Do you mind if we wrap it up here?
Sounds good.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. As always, we'll see you all next time. Have a good one.